At what point do you think people are gonna not think it's a joke? Like the whole gay thing. Because I feel like we make a lot of references to that, but it's like
there's a fine line.
we're on that line real quick, or like real.
We're balancing on that line, and then we heavily lean to one side, and then we just kind of pull it back slightly.
Oh, Brian messaged me.
It's an image.
Our biggest supporter, Brian, sent me an image. I'm not gonna look at it right now, but
it's probably his dick.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah. At what point are they gonna be like? Are these guys like? Are they actually gay? Are they actually?
Is Lexy a facade?
Is she real?
Is that what
we should get her on an episode just to prove that she's real?
She would be so fucking bored.
Oh no, she would be annoyed. I've seen like when I have like a fire and there's like a bunch of people and you guys always come together. She just like kind of hangs out there.
She kind of chills.
Just kind of hangs out there.
Basks in the ambiance.
Well, I'm like a menace.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I feel like it's just two different personality vibes.
Yeah,
that we get.
Very subtle. So she's very subtle, but yeah, it'd be funny though. She'd be like, stick her right in the middle.
Oh, we could review snack boxes or whatever it is you guys do.
Snack crates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's start. We've already lost enough time.
Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to the 82nd installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me.
Jordan. Yeah. I got chest pains right as I started the intro, so I'm probably going to die. Where, if you wanted to listen to this podcast on like a platform that's not youtube.com, and you wanted to listen to just the audio for some reason, where could you go?
You can find us natively on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course my app of choice, Pocket Casts. And as always, there's the RSS feed. Manually import that into any sort of RSS consumption app. And give us a little contact. Do a little contacting via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me, or on Instagram or TikTok, linked below. And as Chris mentioned, there's always youtube.com. It's where we started. It's where we began this voyage, and now we have a video platform. So you can find us there with a video platform and shoot us a comment. So
maybe once we get popular, we can sell our podcast to Spotify and have the video platform on Spotify too.
Maybe.
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I like the energy though. Once we get popular, that's the energy, baby.
Well, yeah. That's like because it's going to happen. It's not like as long as you keep going, eventually someone's going to be like, yo, this is it.
There has to be someone. We know there's someone out there because of our vast group of friends that we know from high school that have that same stupid humor we have. That there's got to be someone else we don't know that's like, hey, this clits. I like. But this.
also too, what we could do is we could talk to one of those spam pages that always comments on our highlights on Instagram.
Yeah.
It says, hey, promote your podcast
on Reality
here.
Records and on this and on that. And
it's like, bro, this account has like 28 followers. And the link it's not even a link to somewhere good. It's a bit.ly. It's a bit.ly link. You want me to click that? You honestly want me to click that?
Yeah. Although
I'm going to get a virus.
The one on Instagram, they've been commenting, promote this on like @Reality Records. You go to their page, they have like 2 million followers.
Oh, shit.
And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how much. They're like, yeah, they give free shout outs. I'm like, how much do we have to pay them? Be honest with me.
Yeah, but also is it like, oh, you can promote as much as you want, but you have to sign this contract giving us creative control and rights over your podcast. And I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't want to be a slave to some corporation. I think it's foolish.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So, Jordan.
Yeah, what's up?
What have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to? Well, I'm kind of pissed, first of all. I want to start with this.
What could you possibly be angry about?
I received a letter last night, and I'm
a death threat?
I wish it was a death threat. I would have been more satisfied with a death threat. It might as well be a death threat.
Oh, was it an eviction notice?
No, it was fucking jury duty.
One of our coworkers just got jury duty, didn't he?
Yeah.
That sucks. So now you're gonna be the guy who has to leave in the middle of work.
Yeah. So I'm pissed. I have fucking jury duty. That's annoying. I'm not happy about it. It's in June though. So
well, see, here's the thing about jury duty. is there's a lot of things you can do to get out of it. Like, not in terms of, like, you can't call and be like, oh, my tummy hurt, I threw up, I can't go. No, it has to be, you can, if you show up.
And show bias.
And you show, like, bias, or, honestly, because most people show up and they look disgusting. If you show up clean cut in, like a suit, they won't pick you.
Really?
They're like, oh, this guy, okay, he's going to take this way too seriously, or, like, he's got other things he has to do, so.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find out the details of the case, and I'm going to pick the polar opposite of the case. So, for example, if it's like a domestic abuse case, I'm going to show up
I'm gonna show up in a shirt that says, I support domestic abuse.
Pretty much. Like, if it's something like that, I'm showing up with a shirt like that. If it's like, hey, this guy robbed a store, I'm going to show up with a shirt that says, I love robbing stores on the weekend.
Or it's a domestic abuse case. You show up, you have Lexy come with you and have her put makeup under her eyes so it looks like she has a black eye. And then
I become the case.
And then, like, she says something in the waiting room with everyone there, and she says something to you, and you yell at her in public.
There you go. Yeah.
That's really shitty.
And she shows fear.
That's really shitty. Dudes who, like, yell at their girlfriend in public.
Yeah.
I can understand, like, parents with kids, because, like, sometimes you just have to yell at kids. But, like, there's no need to yell at, like, your friends or, like, your girlfriend in public.
Yeah, well, actually, we went grocery shopping last night, and there was a woman.
Unless it's a matter of, like, hey, they're, like, across the store, like, hey, come here.
There was literally a woman. Her husband was like, hey, do we need this? And she would just, like, turn around and be like, no, what do you think? When have we ever bought that? And he was just like, he'd be like, okay, honey, and walk away.
Yes,
and I said, man, she's got him by the cojones.
Yeah, she wears the pants in this relationship.
Apparently. I was just waiting for him to snap. I was waiting to, like, go around the corner, and then you just hear, and and all of a sudden I go around, and he's walking out the door, and she's,
don't you ever fucking yell at me again in public, you bitch! What do you think this is? Who do you think you are? I could be a good domestic abuser.
I don't know if that's something you want to advertise.
No, I'm not mean enough. Like, I'm not sincerely mean anymore. I used to be really shitty, but I'm not like mean anymore.
Chris is gonna go to a support group. They're gonna be like, so what's your trouble? She's like, man, I feel like I would be an excellent domestic abuser.
I just got this Chris Brown energy in me. Like,
we're gonna get canceled, dude. But speaking of canceled,
put this on TikTok. I want to fight women.
So speaking of canceled, TikTok canceled us.
Yeah, TikTok removed us.
Yeah.
on blatantly, like, just drawn up charges. It's false charges. And it's because the platform's homophobic.
So we posted.
It's a matter of just that. It's simply that. The platform is homophobic. They hate homosexuals.
Okay, Joe Biden.
I woke up like an hour ago, bro.
We've been posting highlights on YouTube. Somewhat, but mostly on Instagram and TikTok, as I mentioned before, and all of them have been okay. Like, nothing bad has happened. So the last one, I was convinced the last one was a banger. I was like, this is gonna this is gonna get the right kind of people we want to like the show.
It was good.
It was literally, if you remember from 2 episodes ago, it was literally about us in the 100th episode on what we were gonna do to our friend Alex, and I was like, this is perfect. This is great. I posted it on Instagram, on TikTok. I was like, yeah, we're chilling. I went to check the view count on TikTok, and it just said, your sound has been removed.
I'm just saying, it's like, it shows bias against, I wouldn't say homosexuality, I'd say homosexuality.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not gay, we're just homies, you know?
We do homie things.
Like
fill Alex to the brim.
We do, like, homoerotic things, you know?
Yeah. But now here's the thing. TikTok, half the time I'm on there, there's like 14, 15-year-olds that are like dancing in half their clothes.
Why are you looking at that?
And that's acceptable.
Why are you looking at that?
That's the thing, though. I'm not. It's just on your, whatever they call it, the For You page or
That's
whatever.
not on my For You page. That's not on my For You page.
Sure.
What are
Sure.
you even watching?
This fucking guy. This guy made the note with me that says that shit's on there, and then he does this.
I know it's on the platform. It's not on my For You page.
Half the time you're going through it, it's always just, it's like, it starts off as things that are literally for you. So mine will be a shit ton of Spider-Man stuff, a shit ton of gaming stuff, and then it just gets to the dark side of
Granted,
TikTok.
I do get like, okay, the For You page is kind of broken because I do just get like random shit sometimes.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
With me, it's like my For You page starts off, it's usually something Spider-Man or like No Way Home related, and then it'll be about like 10 games coming out in March, and it's like some guy reacting.
Mine's like cars and like dumb memes and like cats.
Yeah.
Which is basically like kind of what my Reddit page is like. It's like what my Instagram page is like too, but mostly dumb memes and cats.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I get a lot of. I used to get cats on there, but not so much anymore. I get a lot of just like gaming and Spider-Man shit.
well, I get like science and craft stuff every so often.
Fucking 5-minute crafts, dude.
Not 5-minute crafts, just like actual talented people making things.
Makes sense.
And I see someone my age who's talented. I'm like, God, I wish that was me. I wish I was talented.
Chris is like, I wish I showed any sort of iota of success or potential in my entire life, but I don't.
Honestly, like, what if I amounted to, and like, in my entirety, right? I have a job, which that's pretty good. That's like a lot of people don't have one of those. I have a car that I like.
For the next 5 minutes, you were just talking about his fucking Civic SI, so we'll see about that.
Well, I didn't say I was gonna do anything. I said I could if I wanted to, but I don't.
This is what he said. This is what he said last time about the Canyon. Then he ended up with a Fiesta.
Hey, you know how it is. What happens in like a year remains to be seen.
Completely, yeah.
Me now and me in a year, two different people.
Very different.
Very different people. You can see how I shift from different personalities, right? If you look at like how I was at the beginning of this podcast, you look how I am now. Different people.
Different people.
So like I'm just thinking like in a year, how is it going to change?
Right. I love going back to some of the older podcast episodes when we were pretty much just like newscasters.
Yeah.
Like, Chris, did you know? Like literally, we had a chart up, and it's like, Chris, did you know that the RTX 3070 is going to have 18 teraflops? Like,
but
at 3.6. Like,
my point is
crazy.
like what amount of success do I have? I have a job. I have a car.
mm-hmm.
I have 740 YouTube subscribers. I have 38 podcast subscribers. Okay.
Plus 9 on the RSS.
Plus 9. So that's like at least 39.
So obviously 52.
So maybe I am successful.
Oh, you forgot the crippling debt. You do have that.
Well, yeah, but it's not as bad as it could be. Like, I don't have bad, like, credit card debt. I have student loans. Like, not personal ones. I have government loans. And I have, like, a car loan. But, like, as far as, like, credit card debt, like, the high-interest shit, I don't have a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The credit card company keeps telling me to spend money on my credit card.
Same.
Like, my credit card keeps raising my limit.
Oh, really?
They're like, spend more money, spend more. I think I have like $4,000 on my credit card
They see
that I
you
can
as
spend.
they see you as like vulnerable. They're like, hey, he's young. Just give him more money, and he'll be tempted to spend it. But they're,
I use my credit card like twice a month.
Yeah, I don't use
And
mine
they gave
often.
me like I think it's like $3,500 to $4,000 limit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need all that. Why would I want
Right.
to put all that on my credit card? That's so much fucking money.
Right. That's a lot of money to be in the hole with, someone else's money.
I
Essentially.
used my credit card for all my car repairs, but I knew I had the money to pay it off. I knew it was like,
You weren't playing with money that doesn't technically exist.
I knew it was a matter of like, okay, I'm going to dip into my savings for this anyway. So if I'm going to do that, I might as well put it on the credit card so I can just
Yeah.
pay it off and
Just
get
kind
the
of build
credit.
your credit a little more. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. What we did do though, last weekend, was a fucking trek.
Really?
Went all the way to New Hampshire. Literally, like, a pretty good drive for us. But the problem was,
Yeah.
you thought your Fiesta had racing slits. Lexy's car has literal
Ooh.
racing slits.
She has that that bald tire special, the bald head ass special.
Yeah. So we drove up there.
The continental bald head ass.
I was gonna drive, but she gets motion sick. So I was like, okay, whatever, you drive. Drove up there, and it was bad. Slipping and fucking sliding, dude, everywhere.
Where did you go Saturday?
This was last Saturday. Yeah.
Last Saturday, didn't it snow?
Yeah.
Or did it snow Sunday?
So it snowed Saturday for like 5 minutes down here, but it snowed Saturday all fucking day up there.
Oh, yeah, so you're going north. It's like,
yeah,
that
so,
makes sense.
Basically, we drove there. We had not many issues getting there, except for when we got to our lodge. It was like up a hill, so we spun out. And then we made it in the parking lot. We were good. We went for the ice castles. Not sure if you've ever been there for the ice castles.
I haven't been up, but I've like heard of them. I know that it's like a popular thing that people do.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. But we went there, and it stopped snowing like just as we got there. We're like, this is perfect. So we go get some Dunkin' Donuts. We're like, yeah, this is nice. Mm-hmm. We come back. It's like a 10-minute drive to a local Dunkin', which is kind of funny. Considering where I live, there's like 6 of them around me. But
yeah, you can't walk 30 feet without hitting a Dunkin'.
Pretty much. There's literally one on your street. Like
it's like if you live on the West Coast, picture how many Starbucks there are. It's like that with Dunkin' over here.
Yeah, pretty much. But we go to the ice castle. We go to Dunkin'. We come back and we get stuck in a snow squall. So
nice.
Complete whiteout conditions. We're like, all right, this is interesting. So we kind of creep our way back. Still not many issues at all. And I'm like, all right, no big deal. Then we go to the ice castles that night. We're like, all right, let's do this shit. Get there, still not a big deal. It starts snowing hard while we're at the ice castles. We're like, this is beautiful. We're taking photos. We're like, this is fucking great. Well, on the way home, we're going down the highway at 33 miles an hour. Because anything over like 35, you start to slip out on one side. Because that's how bald these tires are. So we're like, okay, no big deal. Hazards on, far right lane.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that was like.
Creep our way. We get to the main road. We're like, good. We'll be on the main road. It'll be perfect. It wasn't perfect. It was snow, dude.
Damn.
We went down the back roads. This was a 32-minute drive from our inn to the ice castles. It took us an hour and 15 minutes to get back.
Damn.
On the back road, we were going 7 miles an hour, slipping every fucking step of the way. It was intense.
I had a buddy I used to work with. He had when he was my age, he's like a few years older than me, maybe a bit younger, and he was like 18. He had a Mazda RX-8. Mazda RX-8. So it's like a rear-wheel drive sports car. And it snowed one day, and he had to get to work. And he didn't have any other transportation.
He didn't have the Chris special where he has 6 cars.
I only have 3, and only currently 2 of them work. So
we'll get into that.
He is rear-wheel drive only. So he said that he had to go up a hill, and he said he was going up like sideways, bouncing off the limiter, spinning his tires. He said his speedometer read 140 miles an hour, and he was going about 6 up this hill, sideways. And he said there was people behind him, like, blowing their horn. He did make it to work, though. So
that's fucking awesome. But yeah, we went and did that. That was a great time. That was, like, the entirety of last weekend. And then, during the week this week, I beat Dying Light 2. It was interesting. Overall, the game's really good. It's a good game. But it's a little disappointing. The story, it's like, this is the story. It's like random shit. Alright, you're at the last hour of the game. Everything at once.
Interesting.
That's pretty much how the story goes. The whole story is just like, yeah, man, like, you're looking for your sister. And then it's like you meet these characters and they give you stuff to do. You do that. And then just suddenly it's like, hey, you're going to fight the final boss now. And learn everything, and it goes crazy. And it just goes like balls to the wall. So it was interesting. It left a lot to be desired overall. But the actual game is still fun as shit.
Literally cyberpunk.
Literally. It honestly, it reminds me a bit of Cyberpunk in a way where I just felt so underwhelmed with the story, and also it's of a similar length, like the 15 to 20 hours for the main stuff. So it had that same thing of like, it starts off and you're like, yeah, yeah. And then you get to the title screen and you're like, oh, where are we going with this?
I was really surprised at how short Cyberpunk was. And I really do wish they kept just like, it was just, instead of, because at the very beginning, they show like a montage of you and Jackie just fucking shit up.
That should have been the game.
That should have been the game. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
If it was just you and your buddy being a menace.
Yeah.
That would have been such a good game. But, like, the one we got was, like, I wouldn't say it was, well, I guess it was underwhelming. But, like, overall, like, the story, I was just kind of, like, whelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was like,
yeah.
I was just like, this is okay. And then I went back and I played Witcher 3, like, recently. I'm like, man, this is fucking good.
This is infinitely better.
This is a good game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. No, that game's so conflicting for me, but Dying Light 2 has that same sort of vibe with me where I'm just kind of like, I don't want to say I'm underwhelmed per se. I definitely wasn't overwhelmed for sure. But I'm just kind of like,
you didn't take you 500 hours or whatever they said?
No, I'm actually at 42, and I'm still going to do some side stuff and shit like that.
That's not that bad, though, 42 hours for a AAA game. Like,
yeah.
If you do, like, some of the side stuff.
I did a lot of the side stuff. I did more side stuff than probably most people would. Most people would save it for endgame. I kind of just...
Like, I do, like, an average amount of side stuff in games. Like, I don't try to play every single little thing, but I do, like, the average amount of stuff, and it's like, if I can get an additional, like, 15 hours or something out of the story, or like out of the game, I'd be happy with that. Like Cyberpunk, the game takes like 18 hours to play. I think I put like 35.
Yeah, that's about like where I was. So same thing with Dying Light 2. Like, I'm at 40. I'm gonna go back eventually, but I'm moving on to different things. But it posed a question in my mind that I wanted to ask you, Chris, before we get into kind of what you've been up to.
Yeah.
What do you prefer if you had a game? No specific game, just a game that came out. Mm-hmm. Would you prefer a longer main story? Think Red Dead 2, right? Like, where the main story itself is like 60 hours.
It's really long.
It can be 90 hours if you just spend a little more time in the open world. But just think of like a Red Dead 2 main story with minimal side content, or do you prefer a shorter main story with tons of side content, like Cyberpunk, like Dying Light 2?
See, this is the thing. I do prefer more story-based stuff, like a longer story. But also, if the side stuff is good, I would be more inclined to play it. Like, if it's not just the same rinse and repeat stuff over and over again.
Right.
Like, that's where it gets annoying. It's like, oh, it's this one type of mission, or this, like, one mission where it's the same formula over and over again. And then you do that. Like, The Witcher 3 is excellent game, but it still had that to some extent. It was like all the Witcher contracts were all kind of laid out the same. It was like, you talk to the person, you negotiate a payment, you look for the monster, you kill the monster. Sometimes they threw a wrench into the works, and it was like,
it wasn't a real monster or something.
Or like, it's like, oh, this is just a person, or like, oh, this person knows something else. We got to find the monster, figure out how these two people are related, or whatever.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I personally, it obviously depends on the game, right? So I think of something like Valhalla, where that game has a pretty long main story. But the way it's laid out and paced isn't necessarily what you would call a main story in a way.
Well, but also, too, that main story is like the same idea. It's very samey. It's like you show up to a new area, you fuck shit up, you like make friends and enemies, and then you leave.
Exactly. So that kind of long main story I'm okay with in certain games. So like in Valhalla, I think it kind of fits. I enjoyed it. I did all the side stuff pretty much 100% of the game besides collectibles, and it took me 105 hours, the most I've ever put in a single player game. The only game I have more in is GTA 5 for the multiplayer or whatever. So that I was okay with, but like I just think of something like Red Dead 2 where I feel like you could play all the main stuff in Red Dead Redemption 2 and feel satisfied. And that's the type of game that I like, is if I can go through the main stuff. And that's a big open world game. We're not even talking about a linear game. And feel satisfied. But thinking about Dying Light 2, if I just played the main stuff, I would be completely dissatisfied. So I don't really like that mix, personally. I prefer a longer main story with shorter side
I
stuff.
do think it is kind of an unfair comparison to compare games to, like, the same metric as Red Dead 2. Because, like, Red Dead 2 is, like, a master class in writing. It's like, I haven't seen writing quite that good ever.
Yeah, that and, like, God of War, like, the two big ones.
God of War had excellent writing, excellent voice acting, like, surprisingly good voice acting.
Yeah.
Freya did an excellent job. I don't know who voices her, but she did an excellent job. The character arc with Atreus is excellent. The voice work for Kratos is pretty good. I know some of the fans of the older games didn't like it as much because it's not the original voice actor. But I liked, as someone who jumped into the series with the 2018 release, I liked that voice actor more because he's more like...
It's Christopher Judge. He's more
stoic. He sounds more Kratos in my mind. But that's like, I'm not coming from the old games.
Like Alex was.
Yeah. Like I like the old voice actor. He's like a really talented voice actor. But the Christopher Judge, he does an excellent job.
Right. But what always like kind of blows my mind though is
he sounds more godlike than...
Yeah, he does actually. He does something more
like godlike. If I was picturing a god, that's what he would sound like.
Yeah, that's true. I do have to say though, like, part of me can't help but want to compare Dying Light 2 to like something like Red Dead 2 just because they were in development for the same amount of time.
Oh, yeah, that's a...
According to the developers anyway, where it's like 6 to 8 years, which is the same time that Red Dead was in. It was from...
Red Dead was like even less time than that. It was like 5 years.
It was from 2000, so 2010 should have been Red Dead, and then 2018 was Red Dead 2.
Yeah, but
so it'd be like right after.
From 10 to 13, they worked on GTA 5.
Yeah, but they have different teams for each game. It's not the same team that made GTA that makes Red Dead. It should be, I think it's Rockstar North and Rockstar something else. There's tons of articles you can look into about it, but they're like roughly the same amount of time. Maybe it is a little less for Red Dead 2. And then just seeing the comparison between, like, you know, I didn't expect Dying Light 2 to be 90 hours, but considering how the first game took zombies of all things and shook up that formula, you expect a little more. You know, that game, Dying Light 1 practically redefined the genre of zombies where you couldn't get away with just making a standard zombie game at that point. You had to be unique. Like Days Gone had to have insane hordes because it was kind of the first of its kind to do that. You couldn't just get away with your bod standard game.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the kind of shift in zombie games because it was like zombies were a big thing for a long time.
Yeah, especially like the Walking Dead show first came out too.
Like from like
that made it really
like
mainstream.
2010 to like 2013 or 2014 was like there was a lot of zombie games, and then like 2014. And then once 2015, 16 rolled around, then there was like more battle royales or like hero shooters and then battle royales.
Yeah. I think of even like Undead Nightmare as a zombie game. That is a zombie game and it doesn't feel like it. It's unique, you know?
Yeah.
So Undead Nightmare was a big one, but you couldn't get away with just like your standard melee combat zombie game at that point. Well, it became a lot more of a higher bar to pass.
Because then it makes, I guess it's because Left 4 Dead 2 came out around that time.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say that's when it got like really good. Was like Black Ops 1 Zombies, excellent. Black Ops 2 Zombies, really good.
Yep. So then, you know, once we started thinking of single player oriented zombie games, it just kind of Dying Light in a way redefined like what makes it acceptable, you know, like what is an acceptable zombie game after something like that. And then you get to the second one and it's just kind of like it improves on it, but you expected, you know, a little bit more. So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Even the whole like superhuman thing I mentioned, that whole arc, they build up to the very end where they're like, hey, you're hunting the doctor who created you. And the only sort of closure that you get around why your character is this way is he's just like, yeah, you're infected. And you're like, yeah, so like what's going on? Yeah, you're infected.
But that doesn't like build into anything bigger.
It doesn't build into anything, like at all. Like
that's so lame.
They do like this really cool thing where as your infection progresses through the main story, you start to turn momentarily and you become like superhuman.
Okay.
And you do all this crazy shit and you start tearing people in half and shit. And then you go back to normal and you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, you even attack your friend at one point.
Oh, that would be cool if it was like, maybe they had an arc, I don't know if they do, but like where you kind of learn to control that ability, and it's almost like something you can activate.
Like a ultimate or something.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
Spartan Rage with Kratos, where
Yeah.
you can just activate it and he like fucks shit up for like a minute.
But
and
he's
then
in
he goes-
control of it.
and then he goes back.
But that's kind of like what I expected. The way the whole story builds, like, the guy who made you is also superhuman like you. So you're, like, fighting him, but he's stronger. And then at the end of the game, it's literally, I guess, spoiler alert, if you listen this far, I mean, you've pretty much already been spoiled. But at the end of the game, it literally ends being like, yeah, Aiden didn't know what his infection was, so he just left because he didn't want to be around people because he was afraid of what he'd do. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's cool. Like,
So overall, your experience out of 10, what do you rate it?
probably honestly pretty much what IGN gave it, like a 7. Gameplay is certainly like a 10 out of 10. The moment to moment gameplay is so fucking fun. The story is definitely just like a 6 or 7 though. So give it like a 7. I'm excited for DLC because I hope they can make like really good DLC, because one of the biggest things about Dying Light 1 was they had a whole nother campaign that came out, an entirely different story. And
So like a Hearts of Stone or Blood and Wine
literally,
type
like,
thing.
it was more, yeah, it was like Blood and Wine. You go to a whole different area.
We need more DLCs like that, man.
Yeah. It
As,
was
like,
literally
the
yeah.
amount of the amount of times that happened, like back in the day,
Like 2010, around that
yeah,
time.
like
and
10
on.
years ago, was like that happened frequently. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
That's where the
anymore.
word expansion came from. That was an expansion.
Like, that
it wasn't a
doesn't-
DLC.
yeah,
there
that
was
doesn't
DLC
happen anymore.
like Call of Duty maps, and then there was expansions. And when you heard the word expansion, people always thought of big RPGs like Skyrim, and how you
Yeah,
would
and they
get
would
an
have an
expansion with a
expansion,
whole
like-
area and a whole story arc.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people are like, yeah, it's an expansion pass, and you get like cosmetics, 5 more quests. So,
Get
like,
the expansion pass, and it's like, oh, if it's a Ubisoft game, it's like, here, you get this, you get this weapon that normally you would get like at the end game. You just get it at the beginning of the game. So
Pretty much.
you just cheat.
pretty much. But yeah, speaking of Ubisoft, they have an expansion coming out soon, but I'll talk about that next episode probably. But yeah, it was good. It was alright. I can't wait for the DLC. I hope they do what they did with Dying Light 1. But what have you been up to, Chris?
Man, I've just been existing.
As he does, yep.
To your point about things that have interesting plot points and then don't expand upon them. My film class. I've been doing this film class at school. You know, a class where we watch films.
So wait, let me get this right. You're in college.
Yes.
You have classes.
Yes.
One of those classes is called film
That's
Class.
it's like intro to film.
intro to film. Okay, and you watch films in the intro to film class at college.
That's correct. Have you tried it?
No,
You
no,
should.
actually.
So film class, we're going over now. Last week was
Cannibal Holocaust.
no. It
You should
was
show her that video.
the Cannibal Holocaust thing. I was thinking I was thinking to myself yesterday. I was like, I should show her the review I did on that new Home Alone. I feel like she would like the wording I used.
Yeah.
So last week was French New Wave movies. So that's French films from like the 60s. Okay, so it's no English to speak of. It's all in French. And these two films that we watched were so fucking boring. Okay.
Ugh.
So the second one we watched had more action than the first. There's a film called Shoot the Piano Player, and if you like this film, I'm sorry. I'm gonna bash it. But there's consistently these plot points where it'll like, or these moments in the story, it does it like 2 or 3 times, where it introduces something really interesting and then makes it boring. There's a scene towards the end of the movie where the main character kills his boss. Kills him. And it is the most boring fucking thing I've ever seen. They get into a fist fight. The main character, he pulls a knife on him because, you know, and the boss grabs like a phone or something and they're fighting. and then the main character chases him out the back of the bar that he was working at. It goes out into an alleyway, and the guy like throws the knife down, and then they have like a little conversation for like 2 minutes. And then the boss is like, come here, and he fucking starts choking him. And then the guy grabs the knife and stabs him. No noise, no music. So slow. It was like the least exciting thing I've seen ever. It's like at least you do like a little sound effect or something to make it. It didn't even literally put the knife in the guy's back. He just went. It didn't even make a noise. It was so boring, and there was a plot point towards the middle of the movie. So the whole plot is there's these two mobsters looking for our main character's brother. And the main character's a piano player. He was a famous piano player, but that's like kind of irrelevant to what I'm going to talk about now. So these two mobsters find our main character because they're looking for his brother. They find him. They stop him on the street. They pull a gun on him. They get him in their car. Say, come, you gotta ride with us. And they're riding around and they go, and they find his girlfriend. And they grab her and put her in the car too. Right?
So wait, brother is in the car?
Brother's in the car. Brother's girlfriend is in the car.
Brother's girlfriend is in the car. So brother as in the brother who's in the car, his girlfriend's in the car?
Yes.
Okay, so both the couple is in the car. Okay.
Couple.
Making sure I'm following.
Main character and his girlfriend, both in the car. They're looking for main character's brother. So, these two mobsters, and then they just, for like the next 5 or 6 minutes, they just drive around and talk. And not even like in an interesting way. Like, you know how like when you play like GTA, you pick up a character and then like they just immediately start talking to give like exposition.
Yeah, and it's usually like witty or
and
funny.
It's like meaningful. Like it has some like backing to the story. No, this had like, this was
the guy was just like, yo, it's already like 11 o'clock. You know it's supposed to rain tomorrow?
Supposed to rain?
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate the rain.
Yeah, I do too. I broke my umbrella last week. I opened it up
that
and
sucks,
one of the
man.
peds broke.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We stopped by the store if you want to get one.
We could, but what about them? You know, just.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
We'll just leave it.
So anyway, what happens was they just talk like.
That was probably more interesting.
Yeah, it was just idle conversation, and then like one of the mobsters says some like really like misogynistic shit, which probably flew fine in the '60s, but like if it was in a film today, it'd be like, oh, that's a bit gross.
Yeah.
And then the guy driving just starts speeding. He's going way fast, and then the police stop them, pull the two mobsters out of the car, and then the guy and his girlfriend, the main character, his girlfriend, just get up and leave. They just leave. They say, we'll see you later," and they just walk away. And that was the plot point. And I was like, that sucked. So I was like, oh, something. Is this the first time it did it in the movie? I was like, oh, something interesting's gonna happen. Oh no, I guess not.
Yeah, that between that and that Netflix show that people like boycotted, Cuties, with like the underage dancers that were like half naked.
Yeah, why are you bringing that into the conversation?
That was a French movie.
That was a French movie?
Between that and Cuties, I don't think I would like French movies.
Yeah, so
they don't sound very entertaining.
There wasn't anything risque in this one. I think best part of both of the movies. The first one we watched, there was a nude model in it. Best part of the movie.
Chris is like, buddy was a dude. Fuck.
No, it was just some chick. And I was like, just watching this movie, and I was just kind of like this. I was like, kind of half paying attention, because I have to look at the screen to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
So I have an idea of what's happening. You're mostly
just reading the movie. You're not even.
So I'm just like this. I'm waiting for this to be over, and then there's a shot like of an art gallery, pans over. Nude model. I went, yeah. And then in the second one we watched, there's tits for about 25 frames. So
hell yeah.
So then I was happy about that. But that's like the only really interesting thing that happened.
Damn.
So if I have to find the 2 seconds when there's nudity in the film to like get excited about it, it can't be that good.
You're watching the wrong film.
Yeah. Because it's like honestly the last thing I look for entertainment value in movies.
Yeah.
Is like if I have to look for that, your movie's not good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, French New Wave fans, but your movies suck. They're bad.
Yeah. I don't know, man. French movies just I don't think I would be too into them. What is Diodata? Guy who made Cannibal Holocaust.
He's Italian.
Italian. That's what I thought. So I wonder how other Italian movies are.
Well, we did watch one, which I did like quite a lot. Because we did Italian neorealism, which was post World War II Italy. So it was like, the movies were supposed to be like really emotional, like evoke some kind of emotion. And we watched this movie about a guy and his dog.
Oh shit!
And the dog doesn't die, so that's good.
All right, good.
But basically, it's this old guy, and his landlady is gonna kick him out of his house because he can't pay his rent. He can't afford to. So he's like trying to get money, and then he can't do it, and his landlady kicks him out. And it's him and his dog, and he's like, well, fuck. I can't afford to have this dog anymore. I don't have a house. So he's like, I'm going to give this dog to someone who's going to take care of it, and I'm going to kill myself.
Oh, Jesus.
So what happens, he's trying to get rid of the dog, and no one's taking the dog. And this dog is the best, by the way. It's this little, like, terrier or something, and he's like, it must have been very well trained, because he could, like, do this, and the dog would sit up, like, sit on its, like, hind legs, and do this, and there's a point where he goes to beg for money, and he does that. He has the dog sit up, and he puts his hat in the dog's mouth, and he sits like this. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love that.
That's fucking great. Yeah.
So, I think I just liked it because there's a guy and his dog. So he can't get rid of the dog. So he's like, you know what? There's a train coming. I'm just gonna take the dog, and we're both gonna exit this earth.
Jesus.
So he's standing in front of the train. The train's on the way. Dog gets scared. Because obviously the dog's like, holy shit, I don't want to die.
Dog's like, fuck you, bro.
Fuck you, idiot. So the dog jumps out of his arms. The guy gets distracted. Moves off the train tracks. And then he's like, man, that was a bad idea. And then he just plays with the dog, and that's how the movie ends. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that.
Has like an undertone of the dog saving him in a way.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's it sounds more interesting than the 25 frames of tits.
Yeah. So Italians, I think they got it figured out.
Yeah.
All they need, guy, dog, easy.
Easy peasy.
So
recipe for success.
Been doing film class stuff, which I'm not even gonna lie, I think it's the only class I've talked about on this show because it's the only interesting one that I have. Like, it's the only one I genuinely look forward to going to.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. I sneezed it. It's the only one I genuinely am like, man, I get to go to film class today. Even if the movies we watch sometimes do suck, I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm fine with this. Yeah. Which makes me think I should have done like a media major or something, but that's beside the point. I think because I'm almost done with computer science classes.
Oh, really?
Like next year, I'm like out of classes to take. There's like 1 or 2 computer science classes that I have to take. Maybe, I think it's like 1.
So how does that work? Do you still need more credits?
Yeah, so I just have, it's like 1 computer science class and then like 4 electives. So I'm probably just going to take a bunch of film stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's always been interesting to me. Other than that, it fucking snowed yesterday.
Yeah.
Sick and tired of it. So, Wednesday, this past Wednesday, it was 65 degrees. 65. It felt like summer.
It was fucking great.
I walked outside with just a t-shirt on, and I felt hot. I was sweating.
Yeah.
65 degrees out.
It was
sunny.
So nice, dude.
It was nice.
I wanted to go for a walk so bad, but I got out, and it was already dark. I was like, no.
It was a nice day.
Beautiful day.
I was at work all day, but it was a nice day nonetheless.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Not terrible. It was a bit colder.
A little bit. I think it was like, what, 40?
It might have been a little lower. It might have been like 38 or something, but still around like 40. It was colder, but it was still like kind of nice. Thursday night started to get a bit rough.
Be rough.
Friday morning, snow all over the ground.
Fucking everywhere.
Snow all over the ground. Now, Friday morning, have to get to work. Normally not a problem. I have I have access to a vehicle that has 4-wheel drive, no problem. Go right through the snow. I already know that Hummer does great in the snow. Problem, Thursday morning. My dad's driving the Hummer. He gets down the street, hits the brake pedal. Brake goes right to the floor.
Safe.
Another instance of GM brake lines deciding, I am removing myself from the world right now. This is the third time I've had a GM brake line blow up on me.
Yeah.
The first time, I looked at a 99 Silverado that I was going to buy when I was looking for my truck. I didn't end up buying it because it had like frame damage. We couldn't look under it the first time we looked at it. But, so we got 99 Silverado. Brake line blew up when I hit the brake pedal. So there's that. 04 Suburban, when I went to look at it the first time. Hit the brake pedal, kind of went to the floor, but still had some resistance. And the guy was like, no, try it again. Try it again. I really get on the pedal. Boom! One of the soft, flexible brake lines blows up. Now, Hummer, brake line just went. Yep. So, I'm left with two options. Rear-wheel drive pickup truck, no 4-wheel drive to speak of. And no weight over the rear wheels, so I'm like, that's a terrible idea. And my car. So I'm like, you know what? This is my trial by fire with those new tires that I have. It did excellent in the snow. It was a machine in the snow.
Yep.
I was like, because after everything that had happened, I had no confidence left. It's like, I'm starting to get my confidence back, but it's like, I haven't been driving that car the way I would have
had what happened not happen.
Pre-wheel coming off. I haven't been driving it like I would had that not happened. So I didn't have a lot of confidence left, but restored my confidence almost fully yesterday. Get on. It was a slow drive because it's like, you obviously have to take it slow because I know if I have to slam on my brakes, they're not going to really do anything.
Yeah.
Because with snow, I don't know how experienced anyone else is with driving with snow. With snow, you kind of have to like, with the brake pedal. If you stab the brake pedal, your wheels are going to lock, or like your ABS is going to kick in, so your wheels don't lock, but you're just going to slide. Yep. It's too much momentum, and normally your tires would make up for that on tarmac, or on like the asphalt, but there's no asphalt. It's just snow.
Yeah.
So I did a good job in the snow. Had my ABS activate once, but there was no like slippage. I had points where like one wheel would start to kind of grab pavement, and then I would slide a little bit. But if I had both my hands on the wheel, it was fine.
Yeah.
So, because I've noticed, there's no Fiesta ST. There's no wheel hand nut hand. Okay, they're both wheel hands now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much power being sent to those front wheels with that open differential that you have to kind of do this to like keep it in line.
To stabilize it, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm already used to doing that. So, did really good in the snow. Got to work without incident. Worked. Got home without incident again because the roads were clean by then.
Yep.
Scraped. Okay. Over the course of me working, my car was encased in ice.
Yeah.
And there was snow, but then it had like kind of rained on top of it. So it was just a layer of ice on top of my car. So I'm just like, well, I'm going to do this as carefully as possible. And I get my scraper, and I'm scraping all this ice and shit off my roof. And I'm like, man, I really don't want to like scratch up my paint. And there's one point where I made a scratch, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's like, once it's nice, and I can detail my car, it'll come right out.
Yeah, we in that snow, we shoveled out our cars in the morning, real early. I sent Lexy on her way, again with her fucking racing slits, and I said,
"You're gonna get her some new tires, man."
Well, we are, but I'm gonna do her rear end first. That way they can that face. I'm gonna do the rear end on her car first, so that way they can balance the tires and alignment properly. So we shovel out our cars, and I'm like, all right, good luck, have fun, and call me if you get stuck.
Yeah.
Now, 20 minutes go by, and she didn't call us. I'm like, oh, she must be good. She only worked, like 20, maybe 15 minutes away, so she probably, with the snow, she probably made it there by now. She called me for contents, 20 minutes later. She was like maybe a mile and a half away from our apartment.
Oh, no.
She was stuck on a hill. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. So I asked her where she is.
Sucks to suck, and I'm going to work, bitch.
I asked where she is, and it turns out she's on my parents' street. And I look at the time, and I'm like, oh, my dad's going to leave for work in like 25 minutes. I call him. I'm like, hey, get your truck, go down your street, pull her out.
There you go.
He goes down, he pulls her out, and she's so stubborn because I'm like, all right, I'm going to bring you to work. She said, no, I'm fine, I'll make it. I'm like, you didn't even make it up the hill. You're not fine. You're not going anywhere. You're going to lose control. You're going to kill yourself or someone else. You're going to fuck your shit up. So I finally convinced her to let me take her to work, and I go up the same hill she went up, and I was perfectly fine. But I slipped on one point on the steep turn, which is where she had initially got stuck. So I'm like, I had a little slip. I was good to go. I made it. I pick her up. We left her car at my parents' house. I bring her to work. I go to work myself. I leave work early to pick her up, and my car didn't really have any ice on it. I was ready to just rip. I was like, sweet. I pick her up at work last night. We go straight to the grocery store. We do the grocery shopping. We go get gas.
Oh, man.
We go back home.
I went grocery shopping last night. It was awesome.
Yeah.
There was fucking no one in that store.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of people where we went.
I go grocery shopping at night anyway, like 7, 8 o'clock, just because there's less people. But, like, post-snowstorm, people don't want to go outside. And they already have stuff from preparing before the snowstorm.
Yeah.
So I was at the grocery store, and then I went to Chipotle. There was fucking no one out. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. So we go to the grocery store. We come back. We're like, all right, we're going to stop at my parents' house, get your car. She's on top of a snow mound. The plows buried her car. It has about 3 to 4 inches of ice from ass to front. I was scraping the ice off. I broke my scraper in half.
I fucked up my scraper, too.
So we had 2 scrapers, luckily, so I took hers. I finished getting her car out. And then she tries to take off. She is not moving. She moved about 13 inches or so forward and was done.
Damn.
So I'm like, all
That's
right.
tough.
I'm like, I have a good idea. I thought it was a good idea, and it was. It got us out. I'm like, I have an idea. Where she slipped and then moved forward, I was like, perfect. Let me dig out underneath where you just slipped to make it bare cement. And then cut your wheel right towards the curb, put that shit in reverse, and let me push your car from the front. And she rolled right back. The front tires hit bare cement, and I said, fucking floor it. And she threw herself right over the snow.
There you go.
And I was like, there we go, baby. So we got her fucking unstuck. So it was a voyage yesterday. I woke up at 6 in the morning to start shoveling, and I work at 8:30. And I got in at like 8:29, and then I got home at like 7:30 at night after everything was said and done. It was a fucking voyage. But she got unstuck. Now we're waiting to do some work for the warmer weather. I'm going to do the rear end of her car and then new tires. So send them in, get them balanced and aligned.
I also have, because I'm lazy, I had a bag of cat litter in the back of my car. It's still there, actually. Still have a bag of cat litter in my backyard, back of the car. So I'm like, if I get stuck, I got this. Mm-hmm. Because I buy, every time I go to the store, not every time, but like every time I need cat litter, I buy like 2 or 3 bags. Because I'm like, every time I change this is like going to get me like maybe 3 changes out of it. Because he's got a big litter box, and he throws litter fucking everywhere, so I put extra in. So I'm like, this is going to get me maybe 3 changes. So I'm like, instead of doing this every, 2 weeks or whatever, I'll just buy 2, and then I only have to do it like once a month. Yeah. So I I had cat litter in the back of my car, so I knew if I slip, I'm good. I got the cat litter.
Yeah. We speaking of cat litter, we thought Oscar was like dying because they ran out of regular litter at the store, so we got him this like ultra fine sand litter that that's all they had or whatever. So he's not too satisfied with it, and the way he decided to tell us, like, "Hey, humans, I'm not satisfied with the litter," was by shitting all over our floors and then pissing everywhere. So
the thing with cats, there's a lot of like inherent differences between cats and dogs. This is why people who are like really dog people don't like cats, because cats, they are unapologetic. They will let you know what is wrong. They will let you know why you fucked up and why you shouldn't do it again.
yeah,
Like, if what happens sometimes, or what has happened in the past, is like, oh, I get busy one day and it's like I change the cat litter like a day later than I would normally, and a cat shits on the floor.
yeah,
It was like I've been really well. Okay, there was also this one dustpan that he had issue with, and he would always piss on this dustpan. He doesn't do it anymore, but he used to do that. I don't know what issue he had with it, but I guess he solved this issue. But yeah, they will let you know if you fuck up. I switched his litter once. I was using a pellet litter, like little pellets, and I stopped buying it because it's expensive. But he was fine with that. He just didn't like it because he couldn't dig. He couldn't bury his shit. So
yeah.
with this, I just regular like non-clumping cat litter. He digs. He throws it around. It's like a little playpen.
It's like using a sandbox in a yard.
Well, sometimes I just hear him going to town. He'll just dig in there. He won't even like. It's like 20% bathroom, 80% sandbox for him.
Yeah, pretty much.
So but cats will let you know when you fuck up.
Yep.
I bought him a different food one time because I couldn't find the one which makes me cagey about getting different foods. But like, I think it's because I got him like an extra protein one. It's technically a nutritional food, so he probably shouldn't have had it in the first place. But I got him a different food, and he got bad diarrhea and shit, just a puddle of liquid shit on the floor that I had to clean up.
Oh shit! Yeah, we got.
By the time I got to it, by the way, it had dried.
And I had to scrape it with the putty knife.
Yeah, I had to like really get on it, and it took me a while to clean it up.
So Oscar usually eats like Frisch's seafood sensation. One time we got him 9 lives, just they didn't have it.
9 lives?
A big bag of it, right?
Yeah.
I put it in his food bowl. He did not touch it. He just became a menace.
He will starve himself if he doesn't like what you give him.
He became a menace. He flipped over the food bowl. He flipped over his water bowl. He would scream at us. He would attack our shoes.
I normally give the chunk Purina 1, like the chicken one or the salmon one. He likes those, but they didn't have that, and those are becoming increasingly more rare. Like, I can't find them, and it's like I guess there's like a supply. It's probably a supply chain thing. There's like there's just certain things you can't find anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't find this one, so I was like, Purina. I'm cool with that. They make a high quality cat food, because everyone's like, oh, you should feed your cat this or feed your cat that. Here's the thing. I'm not made of fucking money, all right? Going for a middle-of-the-road cat food, your cat's going to be fine. My last cat ate the worst cat food imaginable. He ate, like, fucking Meow Mix. Like, the cheapest shit you can buy.
Yeah.
Okay? And your cat's eating Friskies, which is, like, a cheap-ass cat food.
Yeah.
And the cat's fine.
Yeah.
Like, the cat's gonna be okay. I don't need to give my cat a raw meat diet, alright? The cat's gonna be fine.
It's not a fucking tiger.
I've seen my cat eat garbage off the ground. He's gonna be fine, alright?
Unless it's taped, then he ain't gonna be fine.
Then I have to get him surgery, but that's beside the point. So I was like, alright, Purina, what else do they have? So I just got him Purina cat chow. And I'm like, I looked at it, first ingredient, chicken. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And he's fine with that. So if I can find that consistently, that's what he's getting.
Yeah. No, with Oscar, I like to give him the little fillets. They have little salmon or fish fillets and chicken fillets. I give him those sometimes. Give him some canned food sometimes. And he's not a treat guy, though. He won't eat treats.
My dad gives Chunk a treat every morning. He said that every morning he gets up because my dad wakes up super early, as I imagine most dads do.
Mm-hmm.
My dad wakes up at like 4 a.m.
I can't wait till I'm at that point in my life.
Well, I think it's because your dad's probably the same way. So my dad and your dad, both old construction workers.
My dad literally wakes up at like 4 a.m. I used to hear him when I would live with him.
Because those guys will, like, they'll get up in their formative years when they were like our age. They would get up, start drinking, go like all day, have like a Monster Energy at some point during the day, and then like go to bed at like midnight after working for 15 hours.
Yeah.
Go to bed, wake up at 4 a.m.
and
start drinking again, have a Monster, and they're ready to work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's an insane mentality. But I guess after doing that for so many years,
how do you break it? Yeah.
So he wakes up like 4 a.m. And the cat always wakes up with him. And he always bothers him until he gets treats in the morning.
Well, that's how my dad ended up fucking me over, because now we moved out and Oscar was on his schedule. So now at like 5 or 6 in the morning,
treats at
cat's
6
like,
in the morning.
Wake the fuck up, bro. I said what Oscar does.
I think that's a good alarm to have, though.
Yeah.
If a cat walks up and he punches you in the face.
He gets on the hind legs again. He's like, Father.
He walks up to you. And he opens the door like he pays any damn bills in this house. Pushes the door open.
Has a cigarette in his mouth.
He's got a Newport in his mouth.
Takes it out and puts it out on my forehead.
He's got a Newport in his mouth. And he has like a and he's got a fucking Glock, and he's got a Newport in his mouth, and he bashes you in the head with the butt of the Glock. He goes, listen. He goes, listen. You better get me that fucking treat right now. I don't care that you're sleeping. I don't care. You're on my time now, bitch. You're on my time. You have 15 seconds. I want a treat on the floor. You have 15 seconds.
And he goes back to his normal cat state.
You have 15 seconds to put the treat on the ground, or I'm going to air this bitch out. All right? Shit's going to get loud in here real quick. and then he reverts back into a cat. Newport, gun, nowhere to be found. They just materialize back into his cat form.
Oh, shit.
And then you give him the treat, and he's like, and then he doesn't do it until the next day.
Yep, it's like a werewolf in a way.
A werecat.
Starts off as normal. Midnight comes around and he just turns into this fucking beast.
He just fucking 12:01 a.m. He just and he fucking turns.
You sounded like what is it, Daffy Duck? Is it? The way you did that? That was funny.
He goes,
turns.
I don't have the energy to do anything more.
Yeah.
I was gonna go more grandiose, but like, it's not gonna happen. I already rattled my brain around doing that. So
yeah, the brain's still moving in there. But yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's good for this one.
Bruh.
Okay.
You know what I thought of the other day? That Christmas special we did where he was Silent Night.
Yeah.
That had so much potential, but I couldn't stop laughing. It was pissing me off. That should have been better if I had stopped fucking laughing. That was too good.
Hey, it is what it is. So, that's the end of this one. If you enjoyed what you heard today, do all the normal YouTube stuff. And Jordan, would you care to remind everyone where the platforms are and where the contact info is?
So, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course, my app of choice, Pocket Cast. And as always, the RSS feed. Put it into your favorite app. Listen to whatever the hell you want, wherever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want. And contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, or death threats. We're also on social media, Instagram and TikTok. But after today's episode, TikTok might completely ban us, so we'll see.
Yeah?